I turned on Google's AI Max feature and it tanked my campaigns. Google calls their new AI Max feature a massive upgrade that gets you 14% more conversions. We tested it, and on this account, it didn't just fail, it doubled our CPA in 2 weeks. It cannibalized our best performing keywords and it burned our budget. However, on a different account, it worked perfectly. As always, this is not a set and forget feature. If you use it wrong, it will burn cash. If you use the strategy I'm showing you at the end of this video, it might just be a scaling tool you're waiting for. We tested AI Max across a range of e-commerce accounts from 5K a month spend right up to 50K a month. The results are wildly different depending on the size of the account. I'm going to walk you through 3 real-world examples, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So you know exactly when to use this and when to keep it turned off. So what is AI Max? First, what actually is it? Think of it as a dynamic search ad on steroids. Instead of choosing keywords, Google uses AI to read your website. Then it does 2 things. It finds searches and it matches those users' searches to your pages and products automatically. It will write the ads for you. It will generate headlines and descriptions for you. Google pitches this as sort of a keyword expansion, finding out searches that you might have missed off. You'll also see expansion often just means stealing traffic from keywords you may have already been targeting. Before we look at the data, if you're an e-commerce brand scaling past 30K a month and you're tired of being a guinea pig for Google's beta features, then my team and I can handle it for you. Click the link in the description to book a strategy call. We'll look at your account and see where you're bleeding efficiency. So let's start with the horror story. This account, Sofalistic, it's a furniture retailer. It's an account where we're trying to get leads for people to sell their sofa, but it's also e-commerce. So we thought it would be a good fit for AI Max because we always want more leads, and there's always pressure on that. It's an established account, but we still feel there's certain terms that we haven't yet fully capitalized on. However, when we turned AI Max on, it created a perfect storm of problems. First, we saw massive cannibalization. So that meant that AI actually started to bid on the exact same keywords that we were already targeting in our main campaign. But to win the auction, it ended up bidding actually higher. So we're paying double the price for the exact same conversions, effectively just burning money. Secondly, the AI optimized for junk leads. His AI follows the path of least resistance and it goes broader. It found easy conversions, but they weren't necessarily of the highest quality. So whilst they look good on paper and they actually look okay in the account, like if you look here, so we started the test on the 11th. Over the course of the next week or so, we actually saw really strong performance up through the 15th, 16th, and cost CPA, our target of £6 was being hit. So really, really strong performance. We saw a big uptick in leads on the back end. However, if we'd only optimized towards what we saw in Google Ads, we'd have made a large mistake because the quality of the leads was actually dropping significantly and we would end up driving a lot of spam. So whilst we had listings before for terms like sell my sofa, we were then attracting listings on keywords such as sell my sofa Gumtree, which is really unrelated, and it's not the type of people who necessarily are okay with paying to sell their sofa. So that ended up actually shooting ourselves in the foot a bit because the quality was so low. However, the platform did work. It did what we instructed it to do. The only way around this would be to teach the platform properly with offline conversions, as without that data feedback, the AI would just keep spending money on junk leads. So ultimately, we killed the test after a couple of weeks because it hurt our back-end profitability. We're now running a simpler approach where we take a duplicate of the existing campaign on a lower portion of budget. We just push the AI Max through that campaign, and we use that for mining new search terms rather than switching the whole campaign over. You can also see that here if you come into the search terms and landing pages from AI Max report, which sits within the search term report. You can see the types of search terms that we were appearing on changed when we set up the test. So these terms like Gumtree furniture, UK marketplace secondhand, British Heart Foundation sofa, these terms were actually converting at a much, much higher rate than our previous terms. So on the face of it, that looks great, but it's always suspect when the conversion rate is so high. If the conversion rate is so high like that, it either tells me that it's junk quality, spam, or in some cases it could be existing customers, which is not going to be in this case because this is all new customers. But yeah, just one to be aware of. If the CPA ever looks so good, that can also be a red flag. Now let's look at another account where this worked. So this is a high spending e-commerce account in the health and beauty space, spending around 50,000 a month. This was the ideal account for this because we're not worried about lead quality. It's e-commerce, so if someone buys, they buy. It doesn't matter what the search term specifically is, as long as they make a purchase. This was the ideal scenario, but also because of the data volume. It's got a high product count, and we're using target ROAS bidding. And because the product feed is so big, AI, it can act like a vacuum cleaner, picking up loads of long tail search terms that we may have missed manually. And you can see that here. We're attracting lots of search terms for the influencer that the brand is partnered with, and lots of other search terms, lots of other sort of longer tail, top of funnel search terms that we wouldn't have targeted, or that we wouldn't have even thought to target, like how to tame flyaways on the top of head. You know, you're never gonna write that into your Google search targeting, because it's so long tail and so specific, and that's where AI Max actually is quite useful. The only warning here is brand safety. Since AI generates the copy, there is a risk of writing off brand messaging, and if you're strict about your tone of voice, then you do need to watch this very, very carefully. Finally, the much smaller niche account in the e-commerce space, again, called Go Mammoth, which runs sports leagues in London. The AI actually did a great job at matching intent here. Overall search term relevance was quite good. CPA was also quite good as well, so we were broadly happy with that. It figured out that a search for netball in Wembley, for example, would match our Wembley landing page. So yeah, overall we're quite happy with the performance there. The issue here though was we did also see some cannibalization, which we also saw in other accounts. So terms which should have been covered because we had them as exact match in our main campaign were being shown in AI Max, and so different landing pages were being tested. Now, that's not necessarily the end of the world, providing those landing pages are relevant and the overall CPA performance is still within target. So overall, generally quite happy with the performance of AI Max here. We just had to accept that AI Max was going to change and test the landing page that it used. So for smaller accounts, this exploration is often too expensive to justify. So what's the solution to this? We're calling this the Sandbox Strategy. So is AI Max a waste of time? No. You just have to put it in a cage so it doesn't eat all your budget. So the Sandbox Strategy we're using is where we create a separate search campaign with a small test budget, and we enable AI Max features in there. We're adding all of our main campaigns, our main search campaigns, exact and phrase match keywords as negatives in this test campaign. This then means that the AI Max campaign is actually all new traffic. So rather than stealing traffic for keywords that you already have, you're using it to mine for new keywords, and then you can move those keywords into your main campaign and use, so you're ensuring that's only for sort of exploration. So overall, if you're small or you're niche, stick to shopping and exact match structures first. And if you're big and you're scaling, then use Sandbox Strategy. If you want us to build this Sandbox structure for you, then hit the link in the description for a consultation. Otherwise, check out this video here on how to fix your Performance Max feed. Thanks for watching.